They never warn you about the noise. Not the obvious kind, the traffic, the notifications, the constant hum of the world, but the quieter, more dangerous noise. The kind that seeps into your head and pretends to be your own voice. The kind that tells you who you are allowed to be. Because here's the truth, no one tells you early enough. You were born with something rare. Not talent, not luck, a legend. And the world has been trying to drown it out ever since. From the moment you could understand words, the noise arrived. Be realistic. Don't aim too high. People like us don't do things like that. Who do you think you are? At first, it came from others, teachers, relatives, friends who meant well but dreamed small. Then, over time, something strange happened. The noise learned your voice. It started waking up before you did. It narrated your life like a bad commentator. That idea won't work. You're already behind. Someone else is better than you. And slowly, almost invisibly, you began confusing the noise for wisdom. But legends are not built in silence. They're built in resistance. Think about every person you secretly admire. The ones whose names feel heavy with meaning. The ones whose lives read like myths. They didn't have less noise than you. They had more. Ridicule, doubt, rejection, laughter behind their backs. What separated them wasn't confidence. It wasn't clarity. It wasn't even courage. It was this single decision. They stopped negotiating with the noise. They realized something most people never do, that the loudest voices are rarely the wisest ones. Here's the uncomfortable part. The noise doesn't only come from outside. It comes from comparison, from scrolling, from watching other people's highlight reels while standing in your behind the scenes. It whispers, you're late, you're small, you missed your moment. But legends don't run on timelines made by crowds. They move on inner timing. You don't see the years of preparation before the breakthrough. You don't see the nights of doubt before the mastery. You don't see the countless almost quit moments that came before the world finally noticed. You only see the moment the legend becomes visible. And by then, the noise has already lost. There's a version of you the noise is terrified of. The version who doesn't ask for permission. The version who doesn't need applause to continue. The version who keeps going even when no one is watching. That's why the noise works overtime when you're close to something real. Notice the pattern. When you're about to start, the noise screams. When you're about to change, the noise panics. When you're about to commit, the noise gets cruel. It's not a coincidence. Resistance is not a sign you're wrong. It's often proof you're standing at the edge of something legendary. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they listen. They listen to opinions from people who never built what they criticize. They listen to fear disguised as logic. They listen to comfort pretending to be safety. And slowly, they trade their legend for acceptance. They shrink to fit rooms that were never meant to contain them. Don't do that. You were not designed to blend in. You were designed to become. Here's what blocking out the noise really means, and it's not what you think. It doesn't mean you stop hearing it. It means you stop obeying it. The noise will still show up when you wake up early. It will still question you when results are slow. It will still mock you when progress feels invisible. Blocking it out means you act anyway. You write even when the voice says it's pointless. You train even when no one is clapping. You show up even when motivation is gone. That's how legends are built, not in moments of inspiration, but in moments of quiet defiance. At some point, you have to make a choice. Do you want to be understood, or do you want to become who you're meant to be? Because you can't have both at the beginning. The path of a legend is lonely before it's respected. Uncomfortable before it's admired, uncertain before it's undeniable. And the noise will try to bargain with you. Just do a little less. Just wait a little longer. Just stay where it's safe. But safe has never created anything legendary. Let me tell you something important. You don't need permission to become more. You don't need validation to begin. You don't need the noise to quiet down first. You start while it's loud. That's the test. Anyone can move when it's easy. Only legends move when everything inside them is shaking. One day, if you stay long enough on this path, something strange happens. The noise doesn't disappear. It just fades. Not because it got weaker, but because you got stronger. Your actions begin to speak louder than your doubts. Your discipline outgrows your fear. Your identity solidifies. And suddenly, opinions bounce off you instead of breaking you. That's when people say you're lucky. They don't see the years you spent blocking out the noise. There's a legend in you that doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need approval. It doesn't need perfect conditions. It doesn't need guarantees. It only needs one thing from you: loyalty. Loyalty when results are slow. Loyalty when the world is louder than your vision. Loyalty when quitting would be easier than continuing. Be loyal to that voice inside you that refuses to die. That's not arrogance. That's remembrance. Because deep down, beneath all the noise, you already know. You were never meant to live quietly. You were never meant to play small. You were never meant to be a background character in your own life. You are carrying something unfinished, something unnamed, something powerful. A legend doesn't arrive fully formed. It's forged day by day by the choices you make when no one is watching. So block out the noise. Not tomorrow. Not when you're ready. Not when you feel confident. Now. Because the world doesn't need another voice repeating what's already been said. It needs you fully awake, fully committed, and finally listening to the only voice that ever mattered. The one that's been whispering all along. You were born for more. Grow quietly. Rise daily.